Today, we're getting under the hood of women's health with Amy Danielson-Paul, a celebrity trainer, studio director, artistic director, and NGO entrepreneur. She brings over 20 years of teaching and programming experience in the health and wellness industries to her role as head of programming for Under the Sisterhood. As executive director of Sistergood, Amy continues to facilitate wellness programs for women and young girls in developing regions. Amy will get under the hood of perimenopause.
I'm Amy Danielson-Paul. I'm currently in Brooklyn, New York, and I am 46 years young. So I feel like my periods are pretty regular for the most part. I have seen some differences though. So sometimes my periods will be maybe 3-4 days. Sometimes they'll be a full 7 days. Sometimes they start off pretty strong and then they disappear and then it comes back for the rest of the week. And I would say that with my periods, I'm still experiencing symptoms that can be pretty intense, the cramping, the lower back pain. And I have noticed that my level of activity can also affect how intense those symptoms can be. So the more active that I stay, then those symptoms can be a little bit less intrusive and uncomfortable. Yeah. I actually didn't know anything about having perimenopause. I felt a biological change when I turned 45. It was a very distinct change that I felt last year. And through a conversation with a friend, she started to mention, that this could be connected to perimenopause. Maybe this is what you're going through. I had been doing my own research prior to trying to figure out what's going on with my body, and it wasn't feeling exactly like full on menopause. And so since then, I've kind of heard differing opinions about this. Sometimes we start perimenopause quite early, that it's affected to our hormones, especially testosterone. But I haven't heard a lot about this subject in general in terms of women's health. I haven't heard a lot in terms of, educating women on this time in your life where you are going through some biological changes. So it's very new territory for me. I have gotten some symptoms from perimenopause that I can feel have been more biological. I definitely get hot flashes in the night. I get the hot sweats. I toss and turn sometimes because I can't really get comfortable because of that. The symptom of lower libido, I have felt a change in that. I recently got married, so I feel very connected to my partner, very in love, and that has been I felt a shift in that, just a decline. And with my symptoms from perimenopause, before I realized maybe this was connected and called perimenopause, I was just looking at it as symptoms of having life challenges, being under stress, going through different transitions, feeling, some instability with currently, I'm kind of going back and forth between 2 places. And so I was just really thinking this is stress and this is just from not feeling stable. And I actually think that women tend to take that on a lot more than what's necessary. And we're really kind of pushed in that direction through marketing and society standards and all these things that women continue to try and feel the pressure to live up to. So we just chalk it off as, well, I'm stressed or I'm going through this big life change at the moment. And so we kind of almost dismiss the symptom and minimize it to where it's a cause, it's an effect from some other cause, rather than our bodies are these living, breathing entities that are constantly evolving, constantly changing. And I think there's just not enough education for women on the different phases of life that we go through. I think these symptoms have really made me feel, before I was recognizing it as a phase in life, I felt a lot of pressure and that I needed to do something different to change it. I felt like when I didn't feel like moving, and that's really hard for me. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get a little teary. When it was hard for me to even do a workout, that there was something wrong with me and that I wasn't living up to my commitment to myself or the discipline that I know I have. And I literally was going through a time where if I got through a 5-minute movement, it was an accomplishment for the day. I kind of felt a little bit lost in that for a while, and I kind of just worked my way through a lot of self-acceptance, a lot of self-love, a lot of self-compassion, a lot of resourcing to soothe my nervous system throughout that, and my perspective with my relationship to myself, that our bodies are changing, we are changing, we're not the same person every single day, and that at at the end of it all, it's okay. It's okay to feel what I'm feeling. It's okay if I can just move for 5 minutes. But it's tough. It's really tough when you don't feel like that same vibrant self that you once were. I haven't gone to a gynecologist or a doctor about my perimenopause specifically yet. I have been inclined to. I have looked into it. I did get to a point last year where I felt like, even though I'm going through this stress, even though I'm feeling something different that I can keep saying is stress or life changes, I kind of wanted to know what's actually going on internally. I have a really hard time finding good practitioners here in the US. So that's probably been the one thing that has put a pause on me moving forward with that. I'm not taking hormone therapy. I would say that I'm more inclined to do what I can do first before trying hormone therapy. Our hormones are regulated so much by our diet, what we're consuming, how much sleep we are getting, how much activity, movement that we are doing for ourselves. So I feel if I can take a more holistic, natural route first, that's where my body is a more of a big yes to that. And seeing what I can do to improve my lifestyle, if that's what's needed to rebalance my hormones, regulating the nervous system and finding ways to lower the stress, to calm the mind, calm the body. And so I would say I go that route before I would go the route of taking hormone therapy. I would say for women that are going through this, to acknowledge and embrace what you're feeling and understand that it's not your fault, and that there are things that your body is going through and ways that you are changing, and that this is temporary, and that there are things that you can take agency over. Like I said, nature is so intelligent. And if we lean into nature, and if we lean into how nature has designed to support us and designed to support our bodies and our health. And the one last thing I'd like to say on advice for women is, I went through a pretty long period of this past year feeling like I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have anybody that would understand. I didn't know kind of what to do with all of my thoughts, emotions, feelings with this. So reaching out to fellow women and also just checking on them, how are they feeling in this time in life? I think it's so important that we have these connections that we can lean on in these moments of transition.